Good morning and thank you. I feel very welcomed. I feel very grateful that you all invited me to speak, and it doesn't feel like work at all. So I'm going to share my screen now for my presentation. And before I get started on the slides, I want to just share that there's going to be aspects of the program I talk about that are very technical, and then the part that's more the program side, the service side, and that's more what I represent because I've been working in programs serving the unhoused community members for the past 4 years for the city of Fremont. So I'm very excited to meet you all, share this information, and then hear your questions. Let's hope I can change between slides. Okay, great. So I do recognize that this conversation has been going on in your community for probably a few months now, and you all may know a lot of this information, so I apologize if some of it seems repetitive, but I just want to share that the reason why safe parking has come up as a potential program or as a program in our community is because we are in the midst of a housing and homelessness crisis in Fremont and the Bay Area. And 50% of Fremont's unhoused community live in vehicles. And many other communities have been operating safe parking programs for many years now, and we've learned a lot from those programs. We've also learned a lot from the programs that we operate. So briefly, here is a timeline of our safe parking conversation in Fremont overall. It was first brought up by City Council back in February of 2020. They directed staff to do research. Well, in March 2020, the pandemic hit us all pretty hard. And so we had to, readjust as a community and as a city. And so in February of 2021, we were able to resurface that conversation and do more research. And between February and June, city staff, including myself, we held a lot of workshops and conversations with representatives from faith communities, including yours. And it was actually during these conversations that we learned about a very successful rotational model in Saratoga from one of your partner or sister organizations. And they came to the group and they taught us a lot about a rotational model where different faith groups shared their place and their members to serve as a host site a month at a time. And then they would, the group of vehicles would move on to the next site. So then in June of 2021, council approved our ordinance, which allowed for private lots to be able to host vehicles, because at this, it was technically illegal for people to sleep on private property or spend the night on private property overnight. So this ordinance allowed private lots to become hosts. In July of 2021, they approved our program design, which includes, I'll briefly go over this as well. It includes the criteria for the program, the screening, the rules, and expectations for behavior. Now in fall, we're doing outreach to different groups that participated in these meetings to see, to just participate in discussion, hear if there's any questions, if there's interest in moving forward with supporting this program. And our goal is to launch by winter with at least 4 or 5 sites to get the program going, and we can start serving people at that time. So again, this is the more technical side, but the ordinance allows for locations with an accessory use or assembly use associated with their property, which includes religious facilities. Some of the standards of operation within the ordinance, sites can host vehicles for a minimum of 10 hours and a maximum of 24 hours. This allows for only operable vehicles, meaning vehicles that can move on and off the property. The maximum number is 20 vehicles, inhabited vehicles, so that doesn't include extra commuter cars or things of that nature, but it also depends on the size of the site. But overall, the maximum is 20. Quiet hours are from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And there's a lot of information there about fire safety and how to prevent and issues that might come up with fire safety or fire hazards. Again, this is just some more technical information about how close vehicles can park next to adjacent properties and next to each other. This is now moving on to the program side of things. So the less technical ordinance side, but more so on the program. And we really have two pieces of criteria that we're looking for when people are referred to the program. One is their affiliation with the Tri-Cities, because we want to serve people who are in our community. And we determine that a number of ways. One is their previous housing, if they're employed here or go to school here, if their natural supports are here, their immediate family, or if they're receiving physical or mental health services here. The other large bucket of criteria is enrollment in a supportive service program. So that means they are working with a social worker, a housing navigator, or a care coordinator. So someone who's always going to be their partner through the process of transitioning from living in their vehicle to living into permanent housing. We're going to accept referrals from agencies that would be partnering with people, our own city staff who may encounter people in the field. Host sites as well can refer people, and we will accept self-referrals, but it's important that they demonstrate that they're enrolled in a social service program. We've come up with this prioritization of referrals. It's a bit of a loose prioritization because we understand we have to consider who's actually submitting applications. So a household or a family unit that has someone who's 62 or older in the vehicle, families with minor children, people who are employed or enrolled in school, and then adults 18 and over if they're single or with their partner. Screening will be done, and our hope is to do the screening in partnership with the host site so that they are really a part of this process. They must have a valid California driver's license. We understand that maintaining insurance and registration can be very difficult for people living in their vehicles. They have to make very difficult decisions financially. And it can often mean between eating or paying for insurance. So if someone applies to the program and they aren't current on their insurance or registration, we will provide a 45-day grace period and support them in having those documents become current. And part of the way to do that is we've started a community fund that we're calling the Vehicle Assistance Fund. And we would support them either monetarily or helping them with the application process. And then third, the vehicle has to be operable. It has to be able to drive on and off the site daily. And the fourth is the vehicle must be owner occupied. So the driver's license, the application, and the registration all have to be for the same person. We have participant expectations. So our guests in the program will be agreeing to three main things: is the agreement to participate. So it outlines expectations to adhere to a transition from their vehicle into housing. Basically, that means they're motivated to do the work in partnership with a service provider to transition from their vehicle into housing. They need to sign a liability waiver that releases the host site and the city from damages incurred while they're on site during the hours of the program. And then the third is a statement of rules and responsibilities that really define anything that might be a violation of participating in the program. So our statement of rules and responsibilities, they are based on existing programs, one being the winter shelter that we've held for 8 years. That's one of the programs I've operated. And then also our Islander program, which has been going on for 2.5 years. These rules borrow from best practices from our programs, as well as what we've learned from other neighboring safe parking programs. It really sets the expectations to maintain a responsible and safe, clean environment. And any threatening, dangerous criminal behavior will result in immediate removal and expulsion from the program. So this is my final slide, and this chart demonstrates what the partnership looks like between a host site, the city, and any additional groups that want to support this program. So what the host site would be agreeing to is to keep the area, the physical area, maintaining it and making sure it meets all of the requirements. There needs to be a contact person 24/7 from the host site, organizing volunteers to do the daily check-ins and check-outs from the site. Anybody who's new to your site, do an orientation, because a part of this rotational model, they may be going to a new site every month, and it's, you know, a change, and it helps to have somebody orient them to the new site. And then setting expectations for rules and enforcement of rules, that is also done in partnership with the city. So the city is going to be responsible for overall coordination of this rotational program. We're going to be working with each site, and when ready, bring the site contacts together so we're all on the same page. We maintain communication and flow to bring as much continuity to program participants as possible, and really learn from each other and create that community of sites. And then we will perform the referral and screening, but we're also interested in doing that in partnership with the host. Overall, I want to express that this model is truly about partnership between city host sites and other programs, or sorry, other organizations that want to serve and help people living in their cars. So this is a lot of information to take in, but I understand you all have been doing your research, and I've been speaking with Pastor Tia and Mr. Clausen over the past few weeks. And so I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.